is I am now going to introduce Miss Chrissy Brumley. Chrissy has been around for a day or two and is an expert in foreclosure properties. So everybody sit back and enjoy and don't hesitate to ask questions. And with that, Miss Chrissy, had it.
Hi, guys. Morning, okay, so we're going to go over, morning. We're going to go over successfully selling foreclosures. The first one we're going to start with is Fannie Mae. So all Fannie Mae homes go through the first look period consisting of 20 days on the market. So investor offers, you can enter them at this time, but they will be rejected and not reviewed. And no offers will be reviewed for the first 3 days on the market. So we have a new set of asset managers now that we're working with at Fannie Mae. And they are changing some of the things that we used to do. Like I used to be able to put in the MLS that there was a first look period, but they are requiring me to remove that information now because they don't want to discourage any buyers. Well, this causes a problem for the agents because you don't have the information to give to your clients. So you are more than welcome to email me at any time or call me. I can always tell you at that time, but your best tool will be to go to HomePath because it has all that information on there as well. And we are going to go over HomePath too. Oh, and by the way, we do 7 counties for Fannie Mae, 7 counties in the area. We're the only Fannie Mae listing agent in the 7 counties. So all of your sales, if you do Fannie Mae, will be with me. Okay, then there's Fannie Mae reverse. So basically you can tell that it's a Fannie Mae reverse whenever you see this little blurb where the seller must comply with the HUD guidelines. And with Fannie Mae reverse, there is no first look period and no offers will be reviewed for the first 3 days on the market. There is no first look period, meaning that anybody can submit the offer. Like we just had 6 Berkshire. I don't know if any of you were on that, but I ended up with 17 offers that went highest and best. And normally that doesn't happen because we're usually priced a little better. It has a lot to do with the market right now because investors are they're paying more for properties because there just isn't very many out there of the foreclosures. Okay. The seller must comply with HUD guidelines. This means that it's the code that governs the sale of a reverse mortgage foreclosure, and the property is sold as is. No repairs will be made by the seller. The property cannot and will not be sold below the list price. There is no negotiation on that. So in the case of 6 Berkshire, it was listed, I think, for like 20, let's just say 25,000 because I can't remember how much. So basically when it went highest and best, it is much higher than that 25,000. They can take something much higher. They just can't accept anything lower. So all Fannie Mae and Fannie Mae reverse offers must be submitted on HomePath. So we're going to go over HomePath here. So basically all you do is you can type in HomePath. Mine obviously pops up right away. I use this site every day, all day. Over here on the side, you'll log in. I have several people saved, but we're going to go under John because I don't know if you guys know this, but I am really John when it comes to foreclosures. So this is the screen that you'll see. This has a lot of useful information. So for home buyers, you can recommend that they go here and just kind of look around. Under this tab, Real Estate Professionals, this is a useful tool for you. You would go under Buyer Agent section. Under here, it goes over how you make an offer. It's very simple to make an offer on here. It also has the forms required to make an offer. This real estate purchase contract, this is the only contract that Fannie Mae uses. They do not use our standard state contract. This is all they use. If your buyer is an owner occupant, this certification is required as well. And it just states that they're going to occupy the property within, I think it's 60 days of closing. Yes, 60 days of closing. They must occupy it for 1 year. Fannie Mae does check this. We actually get sent out to check it as well to verify that the people are living there. So if you feel for any reason that your buyer is not really going to occupy that property, do not sign this because you can be held liable up to a $10,000 fine as well. So
Chrissy, can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
If some of these properties require extensive work, and some of them do, because the person intends on occupying within 60 days. What happens if the work is extensive enough that they will not be able to move in for, say, 120 days? How do we do that? Do we just call you?
Well, there is no exception to this rule.
Okay.
So basically it would have to be, you would have to wait and submit as an investor, but we would note that they are going to occupy the property.
Okay.
One of the benefits though of purchasing as owner occupant is you do get that exemption on your taxes for your real estate taxes, but you can change that with the court. It's not permanent. You can verify with them that you do live there. So you'll still get the benefit. Oh, also, if the property is, we do go through that first look period, but if it is like, just an awful property, as Barry stated, and it's going to take 120 days, sometimes Fannie Mae won't even negotiate an owner occupant offer. They'll reject all offers at that time and state that you have to come back in as an investor. And when you do that, you can just note in comments that your buyer is actually an owner occupant. Fannie Mae will consider those offers above investor offers, but only, at that time where an owner occupant can't purchase. Like HUD, they don't care if you're an owner occupant or an investor, if it's to that time frame, but Fannie Mae does. That is a big deal for them to revitalize neighborhoods. The other form on HomePath is this utility inspection form. This is only required if it's a reverse mortgage. It just states that Fannie Mae will not pay for utilities, they will not connect utilities, but the buyer can connect them in their name with a 48-hour time frame. This has to be completed, and Fannie Mae's preservation company has to be there for these utilities to be turned on. They do pay outstanding bills, they just won't pay for buyers to have inspections with the utilities. So an easy way to find the property is if you just are on this page, you can scroll down here, and we're going to look up 295 North 11th Street in Breeze. I'm going to show you this one first because it is actually out of the first look period. I'll show you on the next property we pull up where the actual first look period is. So on here, it's very simple. You just click make an offer. If you want to send your buyers here to HomePath, they don't have this option because they're not logged in as an agent to make the offer. Only a licensed agent can make an offer on HomePath. It just has some brief information, and this information is all provided by the MLS. It's basically pulled from the MLS. But to make your offer, you just click make an offer. And because you're already logged in, this is what screen will pull up. If you're not logged in originally under your username, when you pull the property up and you click make an offer, it will then ask you to log in under your information. And it's easy to register on HomePath. Barry, do you know how to register on HomePath? It's been so many years, I don't know anymore.
I do, and it's the biggest thing you need is you have to put our NAID in, and that is the I don't remember what NAID stands for, but it's an identifier that Keller Williams Marquis is a real agency, and it actually identifies Anita as the managing broker for Illinois, and you can find that on the Facebook internal group page on the right side, and you just simply put in your NAID and your credentials because it'll ask for your license number and I think your NERDS, your NRDS, and then it will ask for the brokerage's specific Fannie Mae HomePath number, which is the NAID, and then you are registered.
Perfect. So I can't take you any further because I can't actually enter an offer because I can't change it once I enter it on here, but you just enter only where there's asterisks. That's only the place that there's required information to be entered. You just enter all your information, and at the bottom here, you click say or continue. And once you click continue, obviously it's going to tell me I didn't do anything. That when you click continue, it's going to ask you to upload the contract and the owner occupancy form if applicable. And on that page, you can put it as one document and just upload it in there, and then you would click continue. And then it's going to have you review all your information one more time, and you would just click save and submit. And then it actually goes directly to me. to the listing agent. It comes directly to the listing agent. It does not go directly to Fannie Mae. HomePath is actually a safeguard for Fannie Mae to monitor what the listing agent is doing. That is the sense of what HomePath is actually. So everything still comes through the listing agent on HomePath. You're not working directly with the bank.
Chrissy, before you go further, can we kind of walk through down on the screen a little bit, the offer pieces? Yeah, these questions that are showing on your screen right now. Can you kind of walk through those real quick?
Yeah. So basically, has any buyer purchased a Fannie Mae property? We can start from the top. I can just put in any information there. Has any buyer purchased a Fannie Mae before is required? So the answer you would put in here is yes or no. The reason that that's required is because they want to know if it's an investor, if it's a multi-purchase investor, or if it's an owner-occupant. They want to know if it's a multi-purchase owner-occupant. Because if it's an owner-occupant and they're a multi-purchaser, it has to be a certain time frame before they can purchase a Fannie Mae again as an owner-occupant. So that is a pretty important question. Then in here, you would just put in the purchase amount. We'll say $5. On here, I know, right? So the seller's contribution to buyer's closing costs, there is an amount that's required in here. You can't, it's just zero if you're not asking for any closing costs. Fannie Mae does allow closing cost assistance for owner occupants. They will never do closing cost assistance for investors, but it is allowed. And they will not purchase a home warranty for a buyer. You can ask for it. It will be included in your closing cost money, but it'll be your responsibility as the buyer agent to order it, because the buyer has the option to use those closing costs for whatever they choose, as long as it's allowed by the lender. On here, you would just select your financing type. We'll say it's a 203K. Buyer type is required, so if they're an investor or an owner occupant. Public funds. What public funds are is if the buyer is using a grant program, such as the IDA program or the Madison County Grant Program, that is what it's asking for here. So let's say they're using the IDA program. So you just click buyer using public funds. So whenever you choose that option, it doesn't give you the option to tell me what public funds you're using. So you will receive a phone call from me to ask you specifically what program they're using. The only reason that we ask that is because Fannie Mae offers, when they're reviewed by public funds, it goes to a completely different department. There's only one person that reviews these public fund offers. And it's just, I don't really know why they do it that way, but I guess it's just for monitoring purposes, because they do allow it to be used, because they highly encourage homeowners as opposed to investors. So once you provide that information, it does take a little longer to get a response to a public funds offer, but it's really no different than any other offer that you enter. On here, buyer representation is required. So on here, you would choose if you're a co-broker or in-house. Any Keller Williams agent is an in-house agent. I understand that Jeb is a little bit different from everybody when it works with Star Realtors, but you're still considered an in-house agent to Fannie Mae. Then you would just continue to answer the information. Has the buyer been pre-qualified? Yes. Oh, sorry, I should let you see that. Please be advised, upload pre-qual letter is available. This is what it's going to state when you choose yes. You are not required to upload the pre-qualification. You are not required to upload proof of funds. Again, you're highly recommended to have that information so that you're not wasting your time. However, it is not required to be entered here. It is only required if your offer is accepted. And it's going to say, has buyer owned any property in the last 3 years? You just say yes or no. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Does buyer rent or own? We're going to say renting because they're purchasing as an owner occupant. The only time that this question is important is if it's an owner occupant. So basically, I will end up calling you again and I'm going to say, what do they plan to do with the home that they currently own? The reason that they ask that is because Fannie Mae is sticklers when it comes to that owner occupant period. As long as you say, okay, they're going to give this property to their mother, or they're going to choose to rent this property out, or it's a move up and they're going to sell the home, but there's no contingency. Fine. It doesn't matter what they're going to do with it as long as they're not going to live there and they're going to move into the home that they're purchasing. Earnest money is required. You're required to put an amount in here. The only time you're not required to put an amount in is if you are purchasing as a public entity, such as a nonprofit. Then they'll take 0. And every once in a while, they'll take 0 for a VA offer. You put in your closing date. Will buyer use the seller's title company or their own? They have this option. If they use the seller's title company, the seller will pay for the title policy. If they choose to use their own title company, the buyer is required to pay for the title policy. Sometimes it benefits you to do the buyer. Sometimes it benefits you to do the seller. One option you always have is if you choose in the beginning to do the seller's title company and you find the fees are too high, your buyer has the option to change to use their own title company if it's cheaper for your buyer. So that is an option. One other thing you can do is once you see the settlement statement, if the fees are extremely high, because sometimes they go by the Chicago area fees, if you get a rate card from one of our local title companies and send it to the attorneys, they will reduce their fees typically to match our local rates. And then here at the bottom, it should have all your information in here. I don't know why it has Jeb's old information in here. I'm trying to figure out how to change it. I haven't figured it out yet. I may have been doing this a long time, but I still don't know a lot of stuff at times. So then here's where you would click continue. And of course, I didn't put in this little bit of information, and I really don't want to continue any further because I don't want it to question me.
Well, the next screen simply is the verification, and it'll ask you the managing broker, and then it'll say submit.
Yes.
There's really nothing on the next page.
Well, no, that's where it requires you to upload the document.
Yes.
Yeah, you're required to upload the document and then verify the information. And you are required to do this for both Fannie Mae Reverse and Fannie Mae. You guys have any questions so far? We're good, Barry?
And this is the same thing you use for even Missouri, correct?
Yes.
If you're a Missouri attorney, just wanted to make sure.
Yes,
Okay.
all Fannie Mae properties are on HomePath, regardless of what state you're in. All of them are.
That's a good question. Yes.
You good to move on, Barry?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there's a couple other REO sites that you'll typically use quite a bit, which is prop offers, SPS REO, which is also known as Accelerus. Oh, darn it. You know what I forgot, guys? I forgot to show you the first look. Sorry about that. We're going to go back one more time. Okay, so we're going to scroll to the bottom here. I just listed this property yesterday, 617 Margaret Court. Here's what it looks like. Right here in this corner, where it's about the middle of the page, it says property features, first look, 20 days left. I know I listed the property yesterday, but this number is the one that matters. They don't care what day I listed it. They care what it says on HomePath. So it's still saying 20 days. In my mind, it should say 19 because I listed it yesterday, but that's not how it works. So this is where that information is located. And as you could see on the other one, it was not on there.
And what does first look mean?
That means that only owner occupants, nonprofits can purchase the home for the first 20 days on the market. An investor cannot purchase. As you could see right here on this other property, the 295 North 11th, the first look box is gone. That is all that means. You good, Barry?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to go back here. The other REO sites, like I was saying, are prop offers, SPS, which is also Accelerus, and ResNet. Unfortunately, I don't have really any properties I can show you on SPS or ResNet. again, because the market is so slow. I'm hoping once we pick back up, we'll be able to show you those as well. But there is one on prop offers. So we'll go here. Now, when I type them in, I use these sites so often, they just pop up for me. But these sites are also listed on the MLS and agent remarks. We are going to actually use Jeb, which is John. And the property we're going to find here is 1624 Doris.
Hey, it's okay you say that because Pam is actually Sheila Riggs and Barry Schulhofer as well.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
So I've found whenever you're trying to find these properties on these sites that it is typically easier, less is more on your information. Because if you tend to type in more information, it won't pull these properties up for some reason. And I really don't know why. So basically it's the same. I don't know if you guys have pulled up HUD properties, but you just click on the address and here it shows you the information. You can request information here. Oh, which I don't really want to do that. But here's where you go to submit your offer. Here it tells you that there's a fee required, a pyramid platform fee. Sorry, of $180. Sometimes it's $170. It's just different per which company is using this prop offers. Pyramid platform is where the property is actually located for the listing agent. So you guys are required to pay this fee as the buyer agent, and the listing agent is required to pay this fee as well. So we are both going to pay the fee, and it comes out of your commission at closing. So basically all you do here is you accept the agreement stating that, you know, it's going to cost you more money. You can charge this back to your buyer. Do you do that in a buyer rep agreement, Barry, or?
Yes, you can.
Give me
What you
one
do.
second.
Yeah, I'll talk about this while you do it.
She's gonna cry.
On some of these sites, you're going to have $150 to $180 fee imposed on you as the agent. You can use the buyer representation agreement and actually put in there that it's whatever the percentage is plus the $150 to $180, and that way the cost is put on the buyer and not on you as the agent. Otherwise, we've run into some issues before where agents literally would be losing money paying that $180 fee. So
The $150 fee is the SPS website. The SPS, REO, Accelerators, they're the ones that charge the $150, which we have to pay that fee to as the listing agent. So again, you just enter the information, and here they required you to upload your contract. Everything is right here for you. So you don't switch any screens, you just go through and enter the information and you click save and submit. And if you've missed something, the box will turn red, just like it did on HomePath, and require you to enter the information. If you don't think that anything's required there, you can enter a 0. If a letter is required, you can enter a non-applicable. It's just whatever, because if they have a question, now you're not entering this offer to work directly with me. You are entering this offer and it works directly with the bank. You are working directly with the asset manager. So you can't call me and say, hey, is there anything you can do about this? There's really nothing I can do. Now, if you have an actual, I can send an email to them. Whether or not they'll review it, I don't know. But I have, like on this property, I had one buyer that was interested in it. And this property's been sitting here for so long that this asset manager said, can you please contact this agent and see if their buyer's still interested to get an offer in here? So I contacted that agent and let her know. I'm just waiting for her to get back with me. So there is some communication with prop offers. There is some communication with all the websites except auction, but only the listing agent can communicate with the bank directly. You can put a comment in of offer comments if you want the bank to know something specifically. They do read them and they do review them, but they're sticklers with the numbers that they set. Wrong screen, sorry guys. We're not going to go over SPS. I can show you what the site looks like, and I can show you what ResNet looks like. This is what the SPS site looks like. If I log in, it's going to take you to a screen that doesn't make any sense to you guys, just because of the way that it's linked to the REO properties that we maintain. So I can't really show you that screen because it has private information on it. But here you would just search your property. I don't have any properties to search at the moment, just because of, I don't even know, maybe if we put in Illinois, maybe something will pop up. Okay, there you go. So this is what they look like. I just currently don't have any with SPS that are listed. So you pull your property up and you just click submit offer. Again, it's just like prop offers. So you would just submit your offer. Here's where you have to log in. Again, I cannot log in because it's going to take you to a screen that it doesn't look the same. Barry would have to log in and show you this in order for you to be able to see it.
And it's the same menu driven, just
Yes.
like prop offers.
Yes.
So if you know how to do one, you can actually do them all because they're all very, very similar.
Yeah. And I can't actually log into ResNet either because it shows the sensitive information as soon as I log in under John.
Sure.
But that's my only login I have is John. All right. So the auction sites. This is Barry's information for you.
Yeah. For those of you that have done auctions, you know that you don't get a lot out of it. The buyer can actually log in on an auction site and make an offer themselves. So there's no advantage of actually using you as the agent when they're making that offer, unfortunately. When you log in, you're literally logging in as a user, and the only thing you can do is certify that you are a realtor representing a client. And there's one block that you check says, yes, I'm a realtor and I am representing a client, and you submit the offer for them. An auction site, you go in, you make the offer. It's just like prop offers. You go through the menu driven. Hubzoo's the same way. Hudson and Marshall, the exact same way. You log in, you make the offer. And what they do is the auction period will open up for 48 to 72 hours. And then you put your bid, the auction will close. If they do not get their minimum, then the auction site will reopen and they'll run it again. And you'll see, I've seen actually some of Jeb's listings show up on an auction site. And then it'll be open for a period of 2 or 3 days. So what happens is when it pops up, you're going to get phone calls from investors saying, hey, I want to go see this house right now, and I need to make an offer right now because it's open. Do it because it's the right thing, but just know that if they don't get a minimum, it's going to open back up on an auction site again. And you can buy it without it going to auction. I mean, it's still in an auction, but if you just bid what they're asking, you will get it. I mean, typically you'd get it. So there you go.
Yep. And they do offer, typically it's 1% or a minimum 400. Now, your client can also enter their own offer, but they can put your name on there as you being the agent representing them, and you'll still receive the commission for at least showing them the home. So not that it's that much money, but if you work it out with your client, then that is an option too.
One of the things I want to add here, like Chrissy just said, it is 1% of the sales price with a minimum of $400 commission to you. And there may or may not be a charge depending on which site you go to.
Yes.
That $150 to $200, there may be one of those for the auction site. Hubzoo, I think, does charge that fee.
Yeah, and Hubzoo is one of the, I don't think Hubzoo has that minimum either. I don't think that they do the
Hubzoo does not do a minimum 400.
Yeah. It's auction.com that does.
Yeah. Hubzoo is a 1%, no minimum. So if you bid like $5,000 on a house, 1% of $5,000 would be, I don't know what, $50.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they charge you like $150 to use the site. So you're negative $100 at that point. Just know that.
All right. So then there's VA offers. VA offers, they use their own contract. It is uploaded on the MLS as a sample document. That is the contract that you would use. If your offer gets accepted, they generate, pre-populate the actual contract that they want signed. There's no waiting period for investors or owner occupants, and the offers are submitted directly to the listing agent. I know that we do VAs, and I believe it's Chris Hayes. What is that, Barry? Do you know Southern?
The Southern Realty, yeah.
Yeah, they do VAs as well. So again, there's no waiting period, and this is one of the only ones left that goes directly through the listing agent. Like you've noticed, a lot of the other ones we've shown you, you're going through an actual system other than Fannie Mae, but you're still going through that system, so it's still monitored. We had the lovely property at 2215 Cleveland was just listed at $9,000, and the amount of offers I received on this property, that is one of the worst properties I've ever seen. And I've been doing this, as Barry said, for a considerable amount of time. I can't even believe how much interest was in this property. And again, it's because the market is just so slow when it comes to foreclosures. It's not slow when it comes to traditionals, obviously, but when it comes to foreclosures, it's crazy right now. And I'm always here to help. That's pretty much everything I have, guys. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And it's best to email me because I get a lot of phone calls. My phone has probably rang 20 times while I've been sitting here, but it's on silent. I'm ignoring it as I turned off my emails too. But email is the best way to get to me because I will always reply to email and to text me. I mean, I don't mind text messages. Just let me know who you are because I don't have everybody saved in my phone. And that's about it. What do you got, Barry?